Hello and welcome back to the Eternian Stories channel, where today we're going to be doing, well, as the title suggests, we're going to be tier ranking every book that I've ever read that I know of. So there's about 52 books in here, and we're just going to start at the beginning and go to the end of all the books that I've read. It's not in any particular order when I opened the tier ranker or tier maker, and I'll leave a link for mine in the description, and so you guys can tier rank all these books yourselves. So some of the books, like this one has Catching Fire here, and then Hunger Games is down there. So they're not all in particular order either. So talking about series is going to get a little bit weird. I might have to jump around and find the ones I'm looking for. But we have S tier, which is Chef's Kiss, the best tier. And then A is almost amazing, but there was minor things going on. And then B tier is still pretty good, but not quite as good. C for me is the middle ground. It was okay. It was readable, but nothing super special. Nothing to, as they say, write home about. And then D tier is kind of, getting a little bit worse there. I got through it, but I didn't really like it. And then F is I absolutely hated the book. I finished it, but I absolutely hated it. It was the worst book I've ever read. So let's get started. So we're going to start with A Wrinkle in Time. I listened to this one as an audiobook. I didn't actually read this one. So we're going to put that one. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good book. It's a pretty old one, but I thought it was really good. So I think we're going to go with... I'm really deciding between A and B here. I think we're going to put it in B tier because it was okay, but it wasn't amazing. And then All the Bright Places, that one I think is going to go in B as well because it was really good, but it wasn't the best thing I've ever read. Bloom, that was a graphic novel I read when I started getting into graphic novels, and it was the story didn't feel long enough to me, but at the same time, for myself, I kind of have to think of it as it's a graphic novel. It's not going to last forever, like a regular book will, when you read the Divergent series, the Harry Potter series. It goes on for quite some time. This was just a very short story told in a graphic novel format. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good still, but I didn't really, it kind of went too fast, and it didn't feel like there was enough going on. So goes in C. Carry On, one of my all-time favorite books. No question about that. I loved that book so much. I just actually read that book. I think it was the end of last year I read that one. And then I read Wayward Sun right after that, which is in here somewhere. I just have to find it. Oh, here it is. Wayward Sun. Also, well, okay, that one's going to go in A, because Carry On, that one was a good starting book, so a good first book. The second book, it felt a little bit more like a filler trying to get to the third book that's going to be coming out, apparently, in the end of July. This series, or trilogy, is by Rainbow Rowell. I love this author. I haven't read any of her other books, or if I have, I don't remember reading them. I probably read them in high school or something. And then the second book of this series, so the first one kind of sets up about these two characters, technically three, but two of them that are the most important to the series, these two being right here. This is Baz, and I forgot his name. I finished reading these at the end of last year, so I don't really remember, a lot. I just remember this one, they're on a road trip, and it just feels like that's all the book is them going on a road trip trying to find their friends so they can get to the third book, where I don't even know what's happening in that one. But I still do love the series so far, and these two books were really good. The second one just was not as good as the first one. And then we move on to Hunger Games. It was okay. I mean, I just kind of wanted to read the Hunger Games to kind of, get it out of the way. Be like, yeah, I read that series. It was okay, but whatever. It's not the greatest, and I mean, Catching Fire can go in the same place because it was meh. Okay, where's the first Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones is gonna go in C tier because it's an okay series. I think with the context of the books and then the show as well, the series it diverges between the two. The books are a little bit different than the series, obviously, because with over 1,000 pages. Somewhere around like 700 to 1,000 pages in each book. It's a very long book, and there's a lot going on, and sometimes it feels like the plot isn't really moving. They're just telling you a lot of things, but it's not really moving. So, I mean, it's an okay series, and then I have the second one here as well, which is alright. It's not, you know, the best. Is that right? Yeah, that's Clash of Kings. That's the Game of Thrones. Okay. And then we have the Matched series, which so Matched and Crossed, I actually enjoyed these books quite a lot. I'm actually on the third book right now. I'm just taking a break from them and reading a different book. And if y'all know anything about me, I read like 4 or 5 different books at the same time, so I can just kind of pick one up and be like, okay, well, we'll just read this one next. You know, we're having a good time with this. So these 2 books so far, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm kind of waiting to finish the third one to see if I'll place them any higher. But as for the first 2, they started, you know, they're really well, and it just, even though in the second one it's a lot of these 2 characters running around and trying to find each other, it still feels like there's enough action and the plot is moving and the characters are moving, and I think it's going really well. It's fantastic. The Divergent series. Alright, so here's the deal. I like the first book. I think it set up the story pretty well. I'm going to put it over here in B tier. I think it set up the story pretty well for, you know, other things that are going to be happening for the rest of the... I believe it's only a trilogy, so the rest of what's going to be happening in there. And the only thing is the books kind of change, or the movies kind of change things as you go. I'm not really a big fan of that, so you just really have to kind of read the books first and then watch the movies. I kind of did both at the same time, and the books were not anywhere near the same as the movies at all. They kind of changed things up, but the first book is great. I have not finished the second one yet. I'm still working on that. This book was terrible. The next book that we're looking at is Every Breath. I completely hated that book. It was terrible. It's going in F tier. There should be a video coming out a little bit before this one that I explain in more detail why I didn't like this book. It's like an 8 or 9 minute video, I think. And I was talking about this book because I tried to get back into romance novels, because when I was younger, when I was in high school, I really enjoyed reading romance novels, but then I tried to do it again, and no, I did not enjoy it at all. Eyes Like Stars, that's going to go in A tier, because that is a amazing trilogy. Actually, you know what's going in S tier for me? Because I loved these books so much. Like, all 3 of them were absolutely just fantastic. It didn't feel like you were stopping one book and starting another. It felt like one continuous flow, and just overall the story moved so well. The characters were well written, and I just loved everything about this series. This was a series I started in middle school, and I didn't finish until the end of last year, into the beginning of this year. I don't remember, but 10 out of 10 on these books. I absolutely loved them so much. This is one of my favorite series right now, besides the Rainbow Rowell series. Let's see. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That one is more of an encyclopedia, and I actually did enjoy it quite a lot, because it kind of tells you about some of the creatures and stuff that are in the Harry Potter world, and, you know, all that stuff. So that was really fun to learn about that. My other favorite... where is it? It's gonna go in like A tier. I have to find it first. Oh no, where is it? I could have swore I put it in here. It might be this. No, that's something else. Anyways, we'll find it later, but I have Quidditch Through the Ages. No, I think that is Quidditch Through the Ages. Whatever. So the next one is... I didn't like this book at all. It was terrible. I didn't read. I listened to an audiobook for 50 Shades of Grey. It was terrible. I hated it. I just read it because everyone else had been talking about it quite a lot. And I was like, you know what? We're going to find out what everyone's talking about, whether it's good or bad. It's terrible. It's awful. I hate it. So this one is Shards of a Broken Sword. There's 3 parts to it. Here's the first 2. I don't know where the other one is. It's only showing me some of them. That's weird. So these are parts 1 and 2. They were okay. I mean, it wasn't like the best book in the world, but it wasn't terrible either. Oh, there's Quidditch Through the Ages. Maybe that goes to this. I think that goes to Shards of a Broken Sword. So this series was okay. was much like the Eyes Like Stars series, where it didn't feel like you stopped one book and started another. It was a continuous, flow. But these ones, it just felt like each book itself was too short and there wasn't enough going on, that it could have just been one whole book with different parts to it, and that would have been fine. So it was okay. It was okay. And then, so flight, so I need magic. Trying to decide where this book would go. This video is going to be so long. I'm sorry, guys. I guess I would probably put the Magic series, which would actually be the Septimus Heap series. I'm probably going to put it in B tier because it was good, but it was kind of made for, middle school level, like children level. So, Magic and Flight and Physic is here somewhere. Here's Physic. Those books, they were okay, but they weren't like anything super special. But I did enjoy the plot line of each book, and I'm on, Quest right now. So I'm on the 4th book out of 7. For a Divergent collection, I think I'm definitely going to put that in A tier because I did love, so when I was looking this book up, it said, Veronica Roth, the woman that wrote the books for the Divergent series and then for a Divergent collection, she started with telling his story and didn't feel like that's where the story started for the Divergent series. So then she started with Beatrice after that. And I'm really glad that she released the beginning part before Beatrice, because it kind of sets up more of what's going on in the society of people, what, the kind of broken parts of the society are, parts that need to be fixed. It just gives more context to what happens before the Divergent series, and I really enjoyed it, and I actually love that character a lot. He's a fantastic character for a series. Harry Potter, no question here. It's going to be S tier because Harry Potter is probably one of the best series I have ever read. I would actually probably say it's better than the Theater Illuminata, which is right here. I love these books so much. And then Harry Potter Cursed Child, we're going to put in C tier because I wish it was longer, but it is a play. So I kind of understand why it's not as long. But I do, wish there was more context, maybe that they made another book or something like that. So that one's going to go in C tier. And then, let's see, where are those 2 books? So there's that one. Oh, here it is. Never mind. I don't know what that is. We're going to put that back down here because I found the other piece of it. It's right here. What is that green one? I'm going to find out real quick. What is the green one? Green. Oh, I know what this one is. This one's The Magician's Nephew. So that was the beginning part of the Chronicles of Narnia series, which I thought actually this was pretty good because I thought it started at Chronicles of Narnia. It did not. It started with... Oh, you can change what the tiers are. That's cool. Anyways, I did not mean to do that. But yeah, no, The Magician's Nephew was actually really good. I think it was a really great way to set up, because Narnia didn't always exist, and in this book it tells you kind of how it came to be created in a way, and how everything, starts to happen with that, and then Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then all the books after. I believe there are 7 books altogether. I have a book that has, like, all 7 books in it. I can't find it right. Oh, there it is down there. And I have currently read the first one, which I also listened to half of it as an audiobook, because I was on a kick for a little while of just reading audiobooks for a while, or listening to audiobooks for a while, because it was just easier that way, because I could do other things and listen to a book at the same time. I might get back into that, I'm not sure, but we'll see. So the next series is If I Stay and Where She Went. They were nothing special. They were okay. I think in high school, I enjoyed them a little bit more, and I actually used to use them for forensic competitions when you read prose and stuff. So you pick sections out of a book and just kind of read them as a continuous flow. I read parts of the first book, I believe, and I enjoyed it at the time, but now I'm just kind of like, it's just a book. Nothing special. In real life, that was a very cute book. I'm going to put that in B tier because that was a graphic novel. I think the art style was really nice, and I enjoyed the story of it as well. I thought that was really fantastic, and yeah, so that's going to go there. Midnight Sun. Surprisingly, I loved this book. I don't like the Twilight books. I've read the first, second, and third in middle school into high school, and after that, I didn't read anymore. I watched all the movies, obviously, and I've been watching a lot of commentary and reviews of the movies because I can't find a place to watch them right now, so I just get the best bits and pieces and how people feel about them, and I think it's really funny. But Midnight Sun I enjoyed quite a bit because it gives you Edward's perspective of the same things that happen in the first book, Twilight. I don't know why I just like spaced on that one. And when he like disappears for a little bit and Bella's just like, what the heck is going on? It gives you more context of what, you know, is going on there and his thoughts and actually the thoughts of the characters around him, which is really cool. And I think that's a lot more helpful to the plot than Bella just being, you know, a very, to me, a monotone character. She doesn't really have a lot of emotion. She doesn't really do a whole lot. So it's really cool to see this from his perspective. Milk and Honey is going to go absolutely at the top because it's a collection of poems that read as a continuous kind of story a little bit. And I read it in like one sitting, obviously, because it's very short. But it was so good. Like, I keep coming back to it and reading bits and pieces here and there because some of these poetry, like, some of them will be like maybe 10, 15 words, but they just hit so hard. And, man, it was just really good. I don't remember which one's the first one. I think this is the first one. So the Overlord light novel series is almost taking up an entire shelf on my bookshelf right now, and I still don't have them all. I have 1 through 12, and I've only read 2 of them, but they are really good. It goes to, so Overlord is a manga, anime, and now a light novel series. Not now, but now I'm just reading the light novel series, because I can read the manga online and watch the anime online. But I kind of like reading it as a novel, because to me, it just, I don't know, it feels a lot more cohesive and you get a lot more detail about what's going on. You're not just looking at a picture and watching characters do things, or, you know, looking at a picture and reading the dialogue between the characters. You actually get like context of what's going on, and it leaves a lot more room for your imagination to kind of, you know, see what's going on. But these 2 are definitely going to go here because I've read the first and second one and they are very good. Paper Towns is the next book, and I think it's gonna go in B tier because I thought it was a pretty good book. You know, the whole mystery of Margot Ross Spiegelman, something like that. The whole like story of her and then the kid, I don't remember his name, but she like kind of steals him and they go off on this adventure, and then she just disappears the next day. And then he goes on this epic quest to find her and stuff. And it's just an overall fantastic story. But it's not, like, nearly as good as all these books that I've put up here. Pumpkinheads was another very cute story. But I'm definitely going to put it here because, well, no, we'll put it up here. This is another Rainbow Rowell book. But it's a graphic novel and illustrated by, I don't remember who. The story is just overall really adorable, and it's so funny because it's these 2 characters. I actually did not think the ending was going to happen how it was because I read it over a couple days, but these 2 characters on the front cover are, you know, it's their last day at the pumpkin patch before they go to college, and they can't work there anymore because they only, you know, have high school students volunteer for it. And these 2 characters are talking about this one character that he likes. And so, but he's never met her, he's never talked to her, none of it. So they go on this epic quest all through the pumpkin patch looking for her, trying to find her, and everyone's just kind of shuffling around different stalls and whatnot. And then he finds her and finds out she's not the person he thought she would be. So then these other 2 characters, the first 2, actually end up getting together, and they look very cute at the end. So that is a fantastic, teeny tiny little teenage romance story. Oh, here's Quidditch Through the Ages. I found it. This book is great. It's supposed to be a history of Quidditch through the ages, but the way it's written is just so funny, and I love, it's not even a story. It's, like I said, it's a history of, you know, Quidditch, and it's just fantastic, the whole thing. And then the next one is actually the Labyrinth manga series, which We're just going to throw all of these in A tier because I read all of them in like 2 days, I think, and they were so good. So good. I just loved them completely. Because I do love me some manga sometimes too. Skyward is going to go in S tier, actually. It's about a character who has a quote-unquote defect, and her dad had it too. And, you know, he died because the defect made him turn against his own squad that was, you know, flying, defeating the Krell, which are the enemy of this story. And just her journey through that, and, you know, being the daughter of a coward. And they actually were hiding the worst truth of that whole story, and just her journey of learning that. And then eventually she gets to go in space, and I'm starting the second book now. Like, I've read a couple pages, and, you know, it's just overall, the way it was written was so good, because you would never think that just a character going through all this stuff, trying to learn to fly a ship, and then, you know, doing all these things, you wouldn't think it would be that great. But the way that Brandon Sanderson wrote this book was so good. So good. This one is Speak, the graphic novel. I'm going to put that in A tier. Well, I'll put it in B tier because it was pretty good, but it wasn't like as good as these other graphic novels I've read that are up here. Where are they? There's one here and here. Oh, the other one is further down, I think. But it was pretty good. It was kind of, you know, just this high school student's journey through, you know, not really fitting in, trying to figure out their life, you know, having mental illnesses and stuff like that. So it was really good, but not A tier, I don't think. The next one is The Fault in Our Stars, going to go in D tier. A lot of these books in D and F tier are books that are, like, really widely known and just not that great. The Fault in Our Stars, I would probably put it in A tier if I was in, like, middle school, but now that I've read so many more books in my life, it's not that great. It's about a girl, she has cancer. It's the other guy, he has cancer. You know, they kind of, their journey through that. There's a moth over there, and it's kind of bothering me. Their journey through that, the guy dies, eventually. Everyone knows the story of The Fault in Our Stars. But, yeah, so it's going to go in D tier. The next one, we're actually getting down to the end here. The next book is The Giver, the graphic novel version. That was really good. I like the idea of The Giver. And actually, I learned right after I finished this, there's actually a 4-book series. I thought it was just one book called The Giver. No, there's 4 books to this. So someday they're going to get on my TBR and I'm going to read them all, and it's going to be a great time. But for now, I have read the graphic novel, and it was really good. My hair is not working with me right now. There we go. It was really good. So the next one is The Last Witch, which is the first book to the Witcher series, which I thought was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think we're gonna put it in A tier because I just love The Witcher in general. I played the 3rd Witcher game when it came out for the Xbox. I've seen the series. I can damn near quote almost the entire first season because I've seen it so many times. I'm gonna watch it again actually this week. But yeah, no, I just love The Witcher in general. I love the idea of, you know, everything going on in it. So that one is going to be A tier. The Song Will Save Your Life is going to go in S tier. Not only because of nostalgia and that this was one of the first books I read in, I think it was middle school is when I got a Kindle for the first time. So that was one of the first books I read on there. And I just loved how inspiring the story was, I guess, and stuff like that. So overall, it was a fantastic book. I have not reread it since then. So I think if I reread it, it might end up in a different place. But for now, it's going to go in S tier. Turtles All the Way Down, also going to go in S tier because it handles mental illness very well and talks about it in a very real way. It doesn't like try to sugarcoat it, make it sound, you know, like try to glamorize it in any way. Like, mental illness is difficult and it's not the best thing in the world. Like, making it, you know, to sound like people, you know, kind of want attention in a book or something. It's not great because that doesn't show what mental illness really is, and Turtles All the Way Down does show it in a way that makes you really think about it in a different way, you know, not have the stigma on it that there is. Also, I'll probably make a video on this later about mental illness and whatnot, but I'm just going to leave it there. This book is fantastic, and I think John Green did a really good job. The last book, gosh, we're already at like 25 minutes. The last book that we're going to look at here is Woman World. And I'm going to put it in C tier because it was an interesting book, but it wasn't really, I don't know, anything like super inspiring, super amazing, anything that happened like that. So I think we're just going to put it in C tier and call it good. So this is my books ranked. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my rankings, what your rankings would be for some of these books. And yeah, I think that's probably going to be the end of the video. I'll leave a link for this tier maker, the one that you can make yourself. And then, let me stop recording. Let me stop. Oh, jeez. Let me stop recording. Okay. So, I'm going to make a, I can't think. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to cut that part out, but that's okay. Leave a link for this and then a couple other things, you know. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.